From August 25th through August 29th, 2010, Veterans for Peace celebrated their 25th anniversary. Inanna, Sisters in Rhythm, opened the public meeting at the Unitarian Universalist Church. Dud Hendrick, president of the Maine Veterans for Peace, introduced Congresswoman Shelley Pingree.
One of the leading campaigners in the state, Sally Green, had this to say about our next speaker, Representative Shelley Pingree. You a little anxious about this, Congresswoman? She said, Sally Green said, "Thank you for our leadership in saying no to more war funding. You are a hero to us." Congressman Pingree responded by saying, "I voted no to more funding because the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are costing $7 billion a month. And that is being added to our deficit. We are spending," further on, she said, "we are spending over $1 trillion annually on these unfunded wars." She went on to report that she hears more of her colleagues, more of her constituents saying that we are spending money on building the roads and the schools and the bridges in Afghanistan, and that money ought to be spent here at home. So ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pride to introduce to you Maine's representative from the 1st District, Congressman Shelley Pingree.
Earlier this year, as you all know all too well, the President came to Congress to ask for supplemental funding for the wars. There was tremendous pressure on every member of Congress to support our President and that funding. But when I went to the floor that night, I thought about how many men and women from our own state have already died in Afghanistan and certainly across the country. And as you heard earlier, I thought about, as so many of you do, the $7 billion a month we are spending in that country that could be put so much better to use here at home, particularly in our own state where we still struggle to build infrastructure, to support our economy, to educate our kids, and do all the things, provide everybody with health care, the things that we know are important to do back here at home. And in fact, that money is not making us any safer, and it is making the situation in Afghanistan even worse. For me, there was no question. If you want to end that war, just as Common Cause said in the 1970s, you have to stop the funding for the war. As members of Congress, we send our troops off, our Maine National Guard, when they're heading to war. We welcome them home when they come back after serving us. And we attend those funerals and make the phone calls. And every day I think about the fact that we're a nation at war, and it's young men and women who are sacrificing for us halfway around the globe. I think about the fallen troops and the families who suffer because of all the troops have left behind. I think about our returning veterans, many of whom suffer from both the invisible and physical wounds of war. I believe we have a moral obligation to take care of those who have served, and I know all of you share that goal. Many of you have been veterans yourselves, and many of you who believe that while our soldiers are serving, we need to take care of them. And I feel confident that someday, before too long, certainly before my grandchildren are grown up, we will end these wars and we will stop going to war.
Jeff Millard, board chairman of Iraq Veterans Against the War, spoke.
People have to know what we did in war. We have to come home and tell our stories. We can't be the people that come home, take our medals and our discharges, and go off and live the rest of our normal lives. Because you don't get a normal life after war. No matter what part you play in it, you will be forever changed. And if you think that you can just come home and go back into regular society, pretty soon you find out that regular society doesn't look the same.
Nancy Boker sang,
"You are being called to change. Feel your courage rise. The eyes of grace in the future is present. Do not turn away from the harm we are doing.
Stand up! Bring it on down!
This is Leslie McVeigh for Community Update.